Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some awesome battles featuring level 51 XL Shadow Machop. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. Machop is a pure fighting type Pokemon with the moveset of Karate Chop, Brick Break, and Cross Chop. And with only fighting type moves, it's definitely more of a Pokemon for fun than for climbing, but this trainer gets some nice wins with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out XL Shadow Machop in action in the Great League. Great lead in the first match, Trevenant into Medicham. Opponent is going to save switch into Dugong, and in comes XL Shadow Machop. Machop, thanks to Karate Chop, is going to charge up energy pretty quickly, fires off the Cross Chop, and able to get a shield from the Dugong. The Dugong may be hoping that if it can land enough Icy Wind debuffs that it can flip the 2 shield, but as you're going to see, these Karate Chops are really adding up, so it doesn't look like Dugong is going to be able to flip this. Cross Chop does get the shield, Dugong doing everything in its power to flip switch here, but Machop is not going to let that happen. Machop commits the final shield, overfarms, and is going for a Cross Chop, and this should be enough to take down the Dugong and maintain switch advantage. Back in comes the Medicham. Medicham doesn't really have to worry about any of these charge moves because they're resisted and they're double debuffed. But either way, Machop able to do a little bit of chip damage, and then in comes a Alolan Ninetales. Medicham is going to be able to reach the Psychic, but Alolan Ninetales has a lot of bulk to it, able to absorb that damage no problem, and charm down before they're able to reach a move. In the back, it's a Shadow Ampharos. Trevenant able to outpace and reach the Shadow Ball, and that will be game over. Shadow Ball takes down the Ampharos, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a Nightmare lead, Trevenant into Alolan Sandshrew. Immediate save switch into the Alolan Ninetales, which is going to be met with Azumarill. This is honestly a pretty nice matchup for Alolan Ninetales so long as shields are up. These charms are really going to add up on the Azumarill. Ninetales goes for the Psy Shock, gets the shield, and it's a CMP tie. Play Rough would not KO here, but would do quite a bit of damage, so Ninetales is going to commit the shield. As you see, these charms are getting the Azumarill quite low. Play Rough not going to be enough to KO here, but it is going to get the Ninetales quite low. Ninetales looking for the farm down, and they get it. That is a huge farm down. Back in comes the Sandshrew. And this is nice because this means that the Sandshrew is going to get aligned to that XL Machop. In comes Machop. In the back, they have Sableye, and this is trouble. Trevenant doesn't have the comfiest matchup here. Going to be shielding up the foul play, and then just needs to be able to get to the back-to-back seed bombs, firing off the first. Sableye is going to commit the shield. It's going to be a race. I think it'll come down to CMP, and it does. Trevenant able to win CMP. That is massive. Prevents the Sableye from overfarming. Sableye forced to burn energy, and from here, Shadow Machop is going to be able to clean up the game. Shadow Machop Karate Chops down and leaves with the Cross Chop loaded. Machop taking down the Sandshrew, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Trevenant into Jellicent, a very nice lead. Opponent is staying in, which is honestly even better, and then they're going to save switch into Beedrill, and this is bad. The entire team basically loses to Beedrill, but the Shadow Ball connects. Opponent calls the bait, and that is exactly what had to happen there. Oh my goodness. Shields up, unfortunately does shield the Bubble Beam, and then is going to fire off the Seed Bomb. Debuff, this is not going to be enough to take out the Jellicent. Jellicent is going to be able to tank it. Brings in the Ninetales to catch, and the charm goes through, meaning that the Jellicent will be KO'd. It's only a Bubble Beam. In the back is Azumarill. So unfortunately, Shadow Machop does not have a lot of play versus the remainder of this team, but at the very least, it can hopefully be a very useful third shield. Alolan Ninetales able to tank the Play Rough and is going to fire off the Psyshock. Psyshock does get that shield from Azumarill. At this point, Azumarill kind of has to shield everything and goes for the last second Weather Ball. Is the opponent counting? They were not, and they give up the final shield. I think at this point, you just bring in the Machop to force them to throw. Can Machop tank this Play Rough here? Play Rough, Machop able to tank it. Brings in the Trevenant, and Trevenant will be able to finish off the game. Shadow Machop, excellent meat shield, and that is a good game. Dream lead in the next match, Trevenant into Swampert. Opponent appears to be not hitting any fast moves. They did not want to see that Trevenant, and they resigned the match. Alright, hopping into the next match, leading Trevenant into Ferrothorn. This is still a positive lead for Trevenant, just because Trevenant is able to hit for some heavy neutral damage with Shadow Ball. Trevenant going straight for it, Shadow Ball able to connect, and gets the Ferrothorn low. Trevenant should be able to tank whatever they throw here, since that's not enough for a Flash Cannon. They end up shielding up the Thunder, brings in Machop, and Machop is able to Karate Chop down. In the back, the opponent has Skarmory, which is a little tough for this entire team. Machop fires off the Cross Chop, and that actually does a nice amount of damage onto the Skarmory. Machop firing off a second Cross Chop, and able to grab a shield from the Skarmory. Little Machop putting in a ton of work. Sky Attack will take out the Machop. In comes Trevenant. Trevenant does have a lot of energy, and Trevenant is going to fire off the Shadow Ball. This will KO unless the opponent gives up the final shield, which they will. Brings in the Ninetales. Skarmory banks a move, and in the back is Azumarill. A lot of Azumarils, and thankfully, the opponent didn't bring the Azumarill into the Machop, because that would have been significantly worse. Azu is going to be firing off the Play Rough. We've seen this before. Ninetales does not have to shield this. Ninetales able to tank it, no problem. And then I think you just go for the Charm Down, and I don't think you shield here. You just save the shield for Trevenant because you know that Skarmory has the move loaded. Trevenant should comfortably be able to reach a Shadow Ball here and close out the match. Needs to shield up, but it's just one more Shadow Claw to get to that Shadow Ball. Goes for the Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb is double resisted, but I think this might also be Seed Bomb range. Seed Bomb takes down the Skarmory, and that is a good game. Great lead in the next match, Trevenant into Whiscash. Opponent is going to save switch into an Altaria. Things going terribly wrong for the opponent right off the bat. Alolan Ninetales doesn't have to shield a thing here. A9 is just going to be able to fully charm down the Altaria before it reaches a second Sky Attack and leave with a lot of energy to fire off at that Whiscash. Opponent waits out the switch clock, back in comes Whiscash. Opts to go for the Psyshock here. Psyshock does slightly more damage, but Weather Ball is going to be more energy efficient. Ninetales farming up, and Whiscash is going to fire off a move. I think at this point you just let this go, because should be able to tank it and able to reach a second Psyshock. So going for the Psyshock ends up working out as he's able to get both of them and take down that Whiscash. And in the back, the opponent has Galarian Stunfisk, and Shadow Machop is eating good tonight. Machop shields the Earthquake, and from here, this is a very comfortable matchup. Machop is just going to get to spam out these Cross Chops. Cross Chop gets the G-Fisk low, able to farm down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Trevenant into Talonflame, and this is a pretty big issue. Talonflame basically beats the entire team, so this is not something you want to see on the lead. Going straight for the Shadow Ball, and the opponent shields it up, and this is not good, because if you shield this, the opponent's going to get to another Flame Charge before you get to a Shadow Ball. Farming up, firing off the double resistant Seed Bomb, but this is not going to be doing a lot of damage. Talonflame able to tank it and commit to the farm down. So Talonflame leaves with a Brave Bird loaded. In comes Shadow Machop. Shadow Machop shields up. It is the Brave Bird. That's a big shield. Machop able to farm down. Hopefully with the Talonflame out of the way, that should free up the Alolan Ninetales, but maybe not because the opponent has an Escavalier in the back. Machop goes for the Cross Chop, and that does massive damage onto Escav. Firing off another Cross Chop. That's going to get a shield from Escav. Escav is going to fire off a move to take out the Machop, but then you can probably charm down with the Ninetales. Ninetales able to charm down. In the back, it's Walrein, and there's a chance. This Ninetales is not in Earthquake range, so the question is, can Charm plus Psyshock be enough to take it out? Psyshock gets the Walrein low, farming up, and Walrein is at the Earthquake. This is going to be incredibly close. Earthquake, not enough to KO. Ninetales, it's a tie! And a heartbreaking way to end the match. Looks like he switched up the team in the next match, this time leading Swampert into Galvantula. Pretty nice lead for the Swampert. He fires off the Hydro Cannon on the CMP tied to the Lunge. Lunge would do quite a bit of damage, so he is going to shield up and then fire back with the debuffed Hydro Cannon. Even debuffed, this would do a ton of damage, so Galvantula is going to commit the shield. Overfarms quite a bit and fires off the Hydro Cannon just before they're able to reach the lunge. Hydro Cannon gets the second shield, brings in Machop, and able to catch the lunge. Very nicely done. That is going to do a lot of resisted damage. Galvantula farms up a little bit and then brings in Skarmory to farm down. Unfortunately, since the Machop is debuffed, 2 Cross Chops are not going to be enough to take down the Skarmory, so Skarmory is going to be able to tank it, farm down the Machop, and leave with a decent amount of energy loaded. In comes Swampert, and this is one advantage to having Swampert on the lead instead of something like Trevenant, is Swampert can actually handle Skarmory fairly well. Swampert is going to overfarm and then go for the Hydro Cannon, and this way Swampert does leave with energy to take out the Galvantula if they bring it back in. The opponent brings in their own Swampert, goes for the Earthquake, but loses CMP, an absolutely heartbreaking mistake. He does still have Trevenant in the back. So long as he can just overfarm in this matchup, he should be in a pretty good spot here. Swampert is going to go for the Hydro Cannon. He's able to tank that no problem. Overfarming quite a bit and going to be firing off that Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb will take out the Swampert. The question is, did he overfarm enough? He did not. He loses CMP. An incredibly close game. Trevenant just not quite able to pull it off. Back to the original team for the final match, leading Trevenant into Swampert, an incredible lead. Opponent is going to save switch into a Bastiodon, and this is XL Machop's time to shine. Machop going straight for the cross chop. This will be hitting for double super effective damage. Bastiodon shielding, hoping that they can overcome the Machop, but they're just not going to be able to. Cross chop takes down the Bastiodon, and that is a good game. All in all, some incredibly fun battles featuring XL level 51 Shadow Machop. As I mentioned at the beginning, XL Machop is definitely more of a Pokemon for fun than for climbing rank. Its lack of any kind of a coverage move really does limit it, but the fact that this trainer was still able to use the Pokemon and get some wins was absolutely incredible to see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.